Hey guys, welcome to episode 2 of the Free from Fear podcast. I got my man Trevor here, man. We're super excited. You want to tell the audience a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, my name's Trevor. I've known Alex for a while now, him and his wife Angie. Angie's actually my wife's cousin, so that's how we kind of got connected.
Yeah.
Go to the same church. We're in business together, so we've grown pretty close these past couple of years. But I'm excited to be on the podcast, bro.
Yeah, bro. Thank you for coming.
It's an honor to be on here. So.
Yeah, I'm excited to have you. How'd you, I want to kind of start talking about, like, obviously you just said we go to the same church. How'd you start going to ICLV?
So it's a funny story, actually. So the reason that I went to ICLV, I was in a relationship at the time with a girl. She went to the youth group there, and I kind of just went to church just to go with her. And then from there, we ended up breaking up, but I stuck around. And, I just got really immersed in the community there at ICLV and found a lot of really cool friends there. So I stayed, and then I ended up, just never leaving.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, same thing for me. Like, I started going to ICLV for Angie.
Yeah.
And then obviously got connected with the community and stuff. And then you met Emily, right? Your wife?
Yeah. So we met on a youth trip, actually. So a little bit after me and that girl broke up, and I started getting more into the student leadership at the youth group. And so I became a youth leader. We went on a trip to California. And so that's where me and Emily actually started talking a little bit more.
Right.
And kind of grew from more of just like seeing each other at church to texting and talking on the trip. And then when we got back from the trip, I was sliding in the DMs a little bit more and all that. But
that's funny.
But yeah, I mean, that's where I met. Emily was the youth group at ICLV. And so, it's fun there, bro.
When did you guys meet? Like, what year? How long have you guys been together?
So we met in 2017, I want to say. 2017, because as soon as I turned 18, she threw me my 18th birthday party.
Oh, okay.
Which was funny. We weren't even together yet, but she threw me my 18th birthday party at her house.
She liked you too.
Yeah, for sure. And so since 2017, we got together in I believe 2018, and we've been together ever since. We've been married for 3 years now, together for 5. So.
3 years. That's awesome. How was it for you guys getting married so young? Like,
bro, we love it, but obviously there's people that are like, oh, you're too young, or don't get married. Like, just wait a little bit till you're set, or stuff like that.
So you're more mature.
Exactly.
How do you know you really like this person?
Exactly. Yeah. People would tell us that all the time, and for us, it was just like we had very good examples with her parents being married, over 20 years. And then we have, more friends that are a little bit older than us that have been married for, over 10, 15 years. And so we had really good examples of healthy marriages, especially with the people closest to us.
Right.
And so, we knew, like, if we found the person, well, me personally, if I found the person I wanted to be with, why wait? We had the same values, we had the same goals, same ambitions. We wanted to go in the same direction in life. And so I'd rather do it with my partner and grow with her than grow apart from her.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of my perspective. I mean, obviously I had people, telling us, like, you're too young, you're not ready. Like, you guys are still, teenagers, you're still growing. You need to have fun, live your life. And I'm like, I'm going to live my life, but I'm going to live my life with my wife.
Right.
Like,
yeah, absolutely.
And I can't wait till we're older, bro. And I can say that we've been married over 60 years. And
I think that's just like the norm though nowadays. Like, a lot of people unfortunately like get married and then get divorced and get married and get divorced. It's like a dating thing for them instead of actually like thinking it as something that's actually like it's a meaningful marriage.
Yeah, no, seriously, even in churches, like, the divorce rate is higher in churches, almost the same that it's in, the outside world.
Right.
And so it's like, there's a stigma on marriages and stuff like that, which, you're young and married. And so I feel like, people like us, we want to be that example for, younger guys coming up that, are thinking of like, oh, I want to find my wife. I want to, be with this person, or, I can't wait to have a wife, stuff like that. Instead of people thinking marriage is that it's just going to end and you can just end it. But no, it's a commitment with you and, your significant other that is, for a lifetime.
So. Yeah, no, for sure. How do you think that changed the trajectory, like, on your life, getting married to Emily?
Honestly, it's funny because I used to always say when I was younger, so when I was younger, I was always say, I'm going to go to college, I'm going to party, I'm going to live it up and do all these things, that teenage boys usually want to do.
Every kid was like that.
And then when I met Emily, and, I met her when I was 17, turning 18, And as soon as I turned 18, I remember, like, I would always tell myself, when you're 18, like, that's when it's time to, like, get to work and start, you know, actually building your future.
Right.
And so when I met her, I was like, oh wow, like I don't have the desire to do any of those things anymore. Like I don't want to go party, I don't want to go drink, I don't want to go, you know, do all these things. Like I want to build a life with my wife, and I want to, you know, be able to set us up for when we have children and stuff like that. So actually getting with her probably changed like my life completely, because I thought I was going to be a bachelor, you know, not be married, like not be in a relationship at all. And
in the penthouse suite.
Yeah, in a penthouse suite, chilling. But no, like it changed a lot for me, and for the better. I mean, I'm very grateful that God put me down this path instead of down the path that I wanted to go on, because that wouldn't have been healthy for me or for my future wife to have to deal with my past and stuff like that. So I think, you know, meeting her and us getting married young and being together actually changed my life for the better, for sure.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. How was it like the transition of living by yourself and then living with your wife? Because I know for Angie and I, it was like night and day, and there was so many things we had to like get used to. Like I had never lived with a girl full time. It was literally night and day. Like how did you guys like kind of adjust to that transition of living together and not living together? Yeah,
so for us, I feel like it was kind of a little bit easier because we don't have like the traditional like story of, you know, us not living together and then moving in together when we got married. I actually started living with Emily and her parents like
I remember
when I was probably like 18 or 19. Emily's mom was pregnant at the time, and so we both were going to ministry school together, me, her, and her brother Daniel. And shout out to Daniel. And so we were going to ministry school together at the time, and her mom, Marilee, was like really pregnant, so she couldn't drive them to school. I didn't have a car. I was Ubering like every day to like either their house or to school. And so she was like, why don't you just spend the night on the days that you guys have school, and then you can just drive them to school in my car. And then from there, like on the weekends, you'll go back home. And I was working at the time too. I was working at Popeyes. And so shout out to Popeyes, man. Popeyes taught me a lot.
Looking good.
Yeah.
Or is that KFC?
I think that's KFC.
Oh, bro. My bad.
But no, bro. Yeah. So you know, so I stayed there during the week when we went to ministry school during the day, and then I went back home on the weekends, and then I was working all throughout, so I would go to school, drive them to school, come back home, take an Uber, go to work, and then I would pretty much Uber back to their house and spend the night, and then go to school again. We didn't go to school, you know, 5 days a week. It was, I think, 3 or 4 days.
This was after high school?
This was after high school, after high school, Yeah, I went to, ICLV had a ministry school at the time, and so I went there for a year, right after high school. And it actually taught me a lot and helped me a lot, like growing in my faith and walking in the call that God had me in, you know, finding out what that was too. And so, so we didn't really have to transition into moving in together, because I kind of knew what it was like in a way, you know, living with her, because I kind of lived with her family for a little bit. And I still had like my house with my uncle and everything like that, but I was there most of the time. When I wasn't spending the night, I would leave at like 2, 3 a.m., go home, go to work in the morning, then come to her house after.
Yeah, when I was at Angie's house. Like.
Yeah, and so I don't know, it wasn't that hard. I grew up with my sister, both my sisters, my mom, you know, so there was a lot of girls in my house too, so I feel like it wasn't too different.
You already knew how it was.
So I knew how it was, And so, but yeah, it was cool, man. I was so excited moving into our first apartment though, because we probably about 6 months after we got married, we still lived with her parents. Well, we lived in their house. They moved to California for 6 months, and we basically had their house to ourselves. It was this huge, like 3,000 square foot house. It was me, Emily, and her brother, but her brother was never home. And so we basically had this huge house to ourselves. So we kind of got the feel of what it was going to be like living on our own. And bro, it was so much fun. So then when they moved back into their own house, we were like, oh man, we got to get out of here. Like we'd rather live on our own. And so we ended up getting our first apartment
at the Veer.
And at the Veer, bro.
It was sick first apartment.
Bro, it was so fun living in a studio. Like I've never had like my own apartment, my own place. It was my first time, her first time having our own house. And it was so much fun, bro. It was a small little like 500, 600 square foot apartment, but
that's all you needed.
That's all we needed. It was just me and her. We were living on the strip. Like
fun,
the whole building and everything was so much fun. And I wouldn't take it back at all, bro. That was like such a good, fun time in our life that, and we learned a lot in that apartment too, like how to, manage our money with bills and everything like that, we learned a little bit before, but now we're on our own. Like there's nobody to help, lean back on. If we say we can't pay rent, it's like, no, you got to.
You got to figure out a way.
Exactly, yeah. But yeah, it was fun. So that was like our transition and moving in together and stuff.
Bro, that's funny because like a lot of people that aren't from Vegas, they always think that, oh, Las Vegans, like, oh, do you guys live on the Strip? Yeah. And everyone's like, no, but you actually lived on the Strip, bro.
Yeah, every time people like we would go somewhere else. Like we went to California because Emily was doing she was doing a recording for a worship album. And we went there, and everybody that we would see and we would tell them we're from Vegas, they would be like, oh, you guys are like, you live on the Strip, huh? And we would be like, yeah, we actually do. We do. Like, and it was fun. I would definitely move back to that place, bro, because just the amenities and everything was cool. But
bro, it was so nice.
Yeah, it was nice. For right now, we're good, like where we're at. But I don't know. I also want to get a house though.
Yeah, Angie wants to get a house really bad. I do too, though, bro. Yeah. Like I want a pool. I want to have space for Onyx.
Yeah, a home vibe. Yeah, I want to
get a podcast studio going.
Right.
A real one. House. No, this is legit though. It looks good.
Yeah.
But a legit one.
Yeah, that would be cool to do it in-house too.
Yeah, that way you don't have to travel far or anything.
Right.
You want to talk about, I know you touched on a lot of it already. You want to talk kind of about your testimony?
Yeah, bro. So my testimony, I mean, I never stepped foot in a, church till I was 17 years old, which was the first time I went to church in the youth group. And, I always thought church people were weird. I was like, I'm not going to hang out with these church people, you know, like all they do is judge people. They're weird, nerdy kids, like, that's just like what I assumed. I never actually stepped foot in a church, so I didn't know what they were like.
Right.
And so when I first went into church, I went to the youth group. Like that's the first thing I ever did was go to the youth group. And it was cool. Like we went there, they had worship and, they had like the production, the lights and everything like that. And I thought it was a cool experience. I was like, oh, this place is pretty cool. We were playing ping pong and stuff. Yeah. Like it was fun. They had a pool table and I was like, all right, this is cool.
Just having fun.
And we were just having fun. But I was the type to, I was in high school, my senior year when I first started coming to ICOV. And, or I might have just graduated actually. I don't remember. I probably just graduated or I was in my senior year of high school.
For sure.
But what I would do is, on Saturday nights, I would be smoking and drinking, partying with my friends. And then on Sunday morning, I would go to youth group.
Right.
And so I was like living that life for a while. But after a while, I like started feeling like, I don't even want to do this no more. Like, why do I feel like things that was so normal to me in the past in high school weren't like feeling right with me anymore. And I was like I would smoke and I'd be like, why am I doing this? Or I would drink and I'd be like, this is not like what I should be doing right now.
Felt the conviction a little bit.
Yeah, and so I felt the conviction for sure. And so I stopped like smoking and drinking, but it was hard because all of my friends were like smoking and drinking and doing all that. And so that was kind of tough, that season of my life because I did lose like a lot of friends just because I didn't want to be around that environment.
Right.
And I love all of them to death. Like till this day, like I still, will reach out to them, the friends that I used to hang out with and stuff like that. But I just don't hang out with them anymore.
Yeah.
Friends, people grow apart.
That's how it is.
And it happens. Yeah. But if you guys watch this, I love all of you. And but yeah, so like I said, my ex-girlfriend took me to that church and then we broke up and I was going through a tough time like with my family and everything like that. And the only people that I really felt like I had in my corner were the people in the youth group at church. Lawrence, the youth pastor at the time, shout out to Lawrence.
Shout out to Lawrence.
Love you, bro.
For sure.
Miss you too.
Lawrence actually married Angie and I.
Yeah, so he did.
Shout out to Lawrence.
Yeah. But no, yeah, so like Lawrence was a very big pillar in my, early days, like my early walk. And so I just got to be a part of the community of these people that were there for me. Like when I was going through this like breakup, when I was going through all this stuff with my family, like I had a stable, environment with this community in the youth group. And so it was funny because one night, I always refer to this as like the first night like I actually felt like God and the Holy Spirit like in my life personally. I was working at Popeyes at the time. I was a opener. And so I was the first one at the store. Like I went there at like 7 a.m., unlocked the doors, did all that. And I was getting everything set up. And I just like, I don't know, I was feeling like a bunch of emotions. Like even throughout my childhood, I kind of had to grow up a little faster just because, of stuff that went on with my family and stuff like that. So I had to be the man of the house at a young age.
Right.
I felt like at least. And so I was there in the Popeyes and I just felt like this emotion and I was like, why am I like feeling this right now? Like I've never felt like this before. And I just started crying like in Popeyes, and I like go to the bathroom because I was like, I'm not gonna like, there's cameras and stuff. I was like, I'm not gonna have these people like watch the cameras at Popeyes and see me like crying. And so I go to the bathroom, bro, and I'm just crying and I'm just like, why am I crying right now? Like all this stuff was going on around me in my life. And so I'm just like sitting on the floor in this Popeyes bathroom, and then all I feel is like a kind of like a warmth, like a blanket, just like come over me in a peace. I was just like, first I was crying, I had all these emotions, and then now I'm just like in this like peace. And I just feel like the presence of the Lord just over me, just saying like, it's okay. Like this is not weakness, this is strength. Like you showing these emotions is not something that's weak, it's something that makes you stronger as a man.
Absolutely.
And so it's funny because I went home that night and I was praying, and then you know, so I was just in bed praying. I go to church the next day. It's a Wednesday night, and so they call it encounter nights. They had like worship and prayer and stuff like that. It wasn't like a service, it was a worship service. And so I go, and they're actually, at this time, my brother Noah, shout out to Noah, love you, bro. He is going to the youth group at the time too, and I'm actually outside arguing with my ex-girlfriend at the time, and everybody is inside of the church, and one of the leaders comes out and is like, hey, like they're praying over your brother and like all this stuff, like I really think you should be out like in there. And so I go inside, and like they're like praying over Noah, and like I'm just like there in the background, like just watching and like being there. And then one of the leaders like randomly turns like towards me, like literally turns his face around towards me, and he's like, I don't know why, but God just told me that he heard your prayers and your cries last night. And I was like, huh? And then he just turned back and just started facing this way, never said anything else about it. And I was like, no way, like God really is speaking to this guy, you know, to confirm to me like, I'm here for you, I'm real, like I hear you. And so that was my first like encounter, you know, with the Holy Spirit and with God. And I just, you know, it changed my life literally forever. And after that, you know, I not only had like conviction in the stuff that I was doing, but I just didn't have a need or a want for it anymore. Like, and so literally my whole life took a 360 degrees after that encounter. And I was like, wow, I'm going to live for you. Like, I'm going to do what I can to glorify you in everything that I do. And so, ever since then, that's
awesome. I think too, like after you experience the Holy Spirit and after you get saved, you just like, you walk around different. Like you just think of life of like a totally different thing than what you thought before. Like it's
seriously. And it's a blessing, you know, especially going through, you know, trials and tribulations in your life. You have a different perspective on things. You know, I like to like say, you know, God gives you that heavenly perspective. He can see things from above that you can't see, you know, looking straight on. And so it just gives me a peace, you know, to know that there's always going to be somebody in my corner fighting for me who's already won the battle. And so, yeah, man, it's thank God every day for sure.
Yeah, that's awesome. I know you've had like some family tragedy and stuff like that, and it's the way you handled it. I think I just feel like you already knew everything happens for a reason, and you knowing God and you having a relationship with him gave you a whole new perspective on if you didn't have a relationship with God.
No, seriously, so, I don't know how I would have I think you're probably referring to the passing of my uncle who basically raised me. He's basically my dad. You know, I consider him my dad. And so his passing, like, I don't know how I would have handled that if I wasn't rooted in my faith. Because it did wreck like my whole family. Like he was a pillar in my family, raised me since I was 2 years old, raised Noah since he was born, raised my sister since she was, you know, 2 years old. And even my younger sister since she was, you know, a baby too. And none of us are his biological kids, but he took us in as his own and really showed me what it's like to be not only a man, but to be a father and to be a leader and to provide for a family and a household. And just showed me, literally, I feel like the picture that I see when I see him is kind of, it relates to, you know, Jesus. Like he's our father, like he takes us in, like we're no longer orphans, we are sons and daughters. And so like I just, you know, the Lord gave me this perspective on that situation that helped me handle it a lot, you know. And there's some people that handle it different, but for me, I knew, you know, that the Lord turns all things for good and everything happens for a reason. And so yeah, no matter what comes my way, I just have faith in him, and I just, his will be done in my life,
Yeah, that's awesome. I want to talk a little bit about well, not a little bit, like your entrepreneurial journey.
Yeah.
Obviously, you're a business owner. You want to talk a little bit about your first business?
Yeah. So, bro, I married into a amazing family. I won the lottery for sure. And so I've always had like a entrepreneurial like spirit to me. I always wanted to do something on my own. Even when I was at Popeyes, bro, like I remember with the general manager, me and him would watch like these motivational videos, like business motivational videos and stuff like that in the manager's office, because I was the assistant general manager. So me and him were just chilling, like watching these videos. And I always had this like this goal and this like what do you call this vision for my life in my head, And while I was there, I always knew like I'm gonna do something great. Like God has called me to do something great.
Yeah.
And so from there, like I started working at a dealership, a car dealership. I was a porter, so I filled cars with gas. If they got sold, I would take them to the detailers. They would wash them. I would pick them back up, put them in the bay with the little bow on it and stuff like that when people bought them. And I did that, and in all the jobs that I've had, I excelled pretty fast. So, excuse me. But yeah, all the jobs that I had, I excelled pretty fast. And from the dealership, I became the assistant like manager for the detail department at Audi. And I was only at the dealership for 6 months, and then I got promoted. And from there, it opened the doors to a little bit more. I started making more money. I was in a leadership role, a management role. I learned how to, handle people and talk to people. And so then from there, it just opened the door from the dealership. I actually got the opportunity to become a technologist for Audi. And after I became the technologist, like it was cool because I wasn't in a sales position, but I was working very closely with all the sales managers.
Yeah.
And I took a lot from that job as far as, people skills, communication, how to handle situations that come up, how to actually work on my own, because I didn't have anybody telling me what to do. I had to do everything on my own, and I had to be a self-starter. And so that job really taught me how to do that. When I came in, I had to make sure I was getting what I needed done, because nobody was going to tell me what to do or when to have it done or anything like that. And it taught me a lot, and it was a really cool job. I had my own office, which was cool. I've never had an office before. And so I had my own office, and I learned a lot from all the managers and stuff there. But even when I was there, I seen the life that they were living, and I seen they were there 6 days a week, because dealerships are closed on Sundays. They were there 12 to 18 hours a day, every single day, not with their family, missing out on their kids, games, birthdays, everything. Like I've seen everything, and they've told me like, oh yeah, like it's my son's birthday, but I can't be there because we have deals to close. And I seen that, and I was like, I don't want to do this. Like that's not the life that I want to live. And so from there, Emily's dad, he's always done carpet cleaning. He had a carpet cleaning company in California. Then when they moved out here, he kind of stopped it a little bit, and then he brought it back up. And this was during COVID time, actually. And so he started it up like a little bit before the shutdown happened. And from there, I helped out here and there. Noah was actually working with him like full time. He had a couple other guys working with him. And I got laid off from my job at the dealership. And from there, I was like, oh, dang, like, what do I do? Like, now I got to do something. And they got busier, with the carpet cleaning, because they were an essential business. It's a cleaning service, disinfectant, stuff like that. And so they got even busier. And so Jay was like, hey, like, come on board, help us out. I need the help. You have the skill set, because I had to do sales training in Audi. So I got the training, I just never did sales. And so I ended up working, with Jay and Noah, and we were doing carpet cleaning. And then I was really good at the sales part. And I already, I knew how to manage people and lead people. So he gave me a little bit more responsibility as far as that. And so after, I would say, probably about a year. After probably about a year, Emily's little sister had a heart condition, and she had to get open heart surgery. So he stopped working for a couple months, and he, had faith that me and Emily could manage the business. And so what happened was he was off of, working for a couple months. He didn't have really much to do with Diamond Superior, and that's when we really took over. And I was like, wow, this is my chance to prove myself, prove that I can do it, and not only do it, but do it better and
do
bigger.
It great, yeah.
And so, you know, that span of a couple months that he was out, we pretty much we blew up a little bit, and we did really good. That was a really good year for us. So when he came back, he was like looking over the numbers and everything. He was like, wow, like you guys actually did a really good job while like we were gone, because they were in the hospital for a month with Zara, and then they just had a lot of stuff to deal with.
Stressful. And he's not worried about the numbers.
So he wasn't worried about it. Then when he came back, he was like, let me see how they did. And we did really good. And so he was like, wow, like I don't even have to be here. Like, you should not go back to your job. You guys should do this and take this over, because he wanted to do other things. He wanted to do, you know, bigger things, which he's done now with his auto repair shops. And so he seen that as a chance for him to move out of that and go into what he wanted to do with the auto repair shops, which he's killing it at. I mean, got 2 shops, working on the 3rd one now. And so, so after that, I never went back to Audi. I emailed my bosses and was like, hey, like, I'm not coming back. Like, you laid me off 3 times.
Right. Like,
I don't want to come back. And they were like, yeah, like, we understand. Like, you know, he even said, he was like, I always knew you weren't going to, you know, last here long because of the way you would talk about being in business for yourself. And so from there, like, it just kind of took off. And we had a lot of people, you know, who helped us along the way. You know, not only Jay and Marilee, but, you know, a bunch of our friends that are older than us, they, you know, helped us and told us, you know, business principles that we apply to our business today. And so, yeah, that's the story of how I got Diamond Superior. I didn't start it, but, you know, I did take it over in a way, me and Emily, and we do it together, which is awesome. That's one thing I always wanted to do, is be in business with my partner and not us living 2 separate lives and then coming home at the end of the day, which is kind of still like we do live 2 separate lives, because she's doing her thing, I'm doing my thing. We come together at the end of the day and then we talk about like what the day was like for both of us, because it's different. It's not the same exact thing.
It's 2 different sides of the business.
Exactly. And so, so we've been doing that, and it's been, you know, going good. You know, there's trials and tribulations that come up, you know, but that's every business. You're not going to have a business and not go through anything.
For sure.
Because if you do, then it's like, you didn't really.
There's no way. You're going to go through something.
You're always going to go through something, especially working like with us. We work with equipment and machinery and stuff like that. So there's, you know, engine problems with vans and employee problems and, you know, problems with me because I don't want to do some of the stuff sometimes. And so it's just learning every day, something new every day. And it's a blessing, bro. Like, it's a blessing to be able to go through that. Like, I don't look at it as a hard time. I look at it as like, wow, this is like a good learning experience. This is growing me. This is strengthening me. This is, you know, expanding my capacity. And so every, you know, problem we go through, I just pray and I'm like, God, like, what can I learn in this season, you know? And so that's Diamond Superior. I mean,
that's awesome. So you guys have been running it full time, or owning it full time for a few years now?
A few years, probably since like 2020. So like 2020, 2021 area. And so a couple years now. And Jay helps us out still all the time. Like, he just has so much wisdom to share in the industry and just in business in general.
Yeah, he's had so many businesses.
So he knows like what he's talking about, and he's like one of the few people that I actually take advice from.
Right.
Because I see the fruit, you know, not only in his businesses but in his life in general. And so, I mean, I've learned a lot from him and rely on him a lot to help us out.
That's awesome.
I can't do it on my own, that's for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Do you think being more rooted in your faith has helped with like decision making? And then obviously you said stuff goes bad. Like, I know right now you're dealing with an issue with one of your vans. How does being rooted in your faith just give you the outlook on that or decision making within your business?
It does, man. It does. Especially having, you know, Emily, she's just, you know, she's a prayer warrior. She's prophetic. Like, and she, whenever something goes wrong, like sometimes like I'll catch myself being kind of like pessimistic. And I'm like, oh man, like this always happens. Like it's always something's going wrong again, like something, whatever. And she'll be like, no, like it's okay. Don't say like this does not always happen. We have a lot of really good times. We have bad times. Like it happens, you know, but God is going to provide for us either way. So I feel like for me, whenever we go through something, like right now we have a van out. So we're missing out on quite a bit of money not having this van running. And not only are we missing out on money, we're spending money trying to get it fixed and ready to go. And so for me, I'm just like, you know what? Like, I'm not going to stress about it because I know that God is going to provide anyway.
Absolutely.
And, you know, when I get the van back, it's going to be back better than it was, obviously, because it's broken. So I'm going to get it back better than it was. It's going to give us, you know, we've had a long run with no problems. And so I look back and I'm like, oh, wow, it's actually been a long time since, you know, we've had a problem with this. So, you know, it's due for a fixing. So
for sure.
I just look at it as like, wow, this is cool because now I get time to, you know, make sure everything is fine with the van, make sure everything's running great, and God is going to provide anyway, which is He has, man. Like, we've been booked and busy, you know, about a week out. So He's providing for sure. So it's just, we just got to get through it. And then, you know, once we get the other one back, we're back and running.
Yeah, that's awesome. I know too, like with Angie and I in Free From Fear, there's been times in the past where something's going on with our business and we're just like, oh my gosh, like how are we going to get through this? Like so stressful, so this and that. And we always get through it. Like God is always going to get us through it. No matter in the moment, no matter how hard it may seem, oh, it's causing me this much money, or like, oh, my brand, this and that. You're always going to get through it. God's always going to, like you said earlier, He turns all things for good. So
no, for sure.
You want to give a little Diamond Superior plug for the Las Vegas residents?
If you live in Vegas and you need carpet cleaning, tile cleaning, upholstery, whatever you need, let us know. Go look up Diamond Superior Carpet Cleaning on Instagram, Facebook, Google, Yelp, wherever you'll find us.
To the 30 people that are watching this, hit up Diamond Superior.
30,000 people.
Yeah, exactly. See? Matt's funny. Hey, we got shout out to Matt behind the camera.
Yeah, shout out to Matt, the magic man, Matt.
He's doing all the editing. He's making sure all the lights look good. He's cutting us out when Hellcats pass by.
Play every little bit.
That's funny, bro. Do you want to talk about Snapchat a little bit?
Yeah, bro.
Homeboy was a Snapchatter.
That was a fun time.
I don't know nothing about it, so
So I mean, there's not much to really explain. We have a really good friend named Nick. Shout out to Nick. I love you, bro.
Nick, yeah.
My brother in Christ. And so Nick does social media, and he introduced us to a lot of his really good friends that do social media as well. And social media has always like interested me, and I always wanted to do something with social media. I just didn't know how to do it, what to do, and I got this opportunity from Nick. Nick opened the door he had a guy who had a couple Snapchat shows, and Nick was doing a lot of the shows for them. And they had one show that they needed somebody to kind of like take over. And Nick thought of me when they were telling him. And so he told me, and I was like, yeah, bro, like I'd love to do it. Like I had to learn how to edit videos. I had to learn how to, you know, do a bunch of different stuff that I didn't know how to do before. But I'm glad that I know how to do it now, because now I can utilize that skill in a bunch of different ways, you know? And so yeah, for probably like 3 or 4 months, I was posting videos. I had a Snapchat show, and I was posting a lot of videos on Snapchat. And, you know, I actually was able to grow the channel to like 40, almost 50,000 subscribers.
That's crazy.
Had a couple videos that hit like over, you know, 2 million views. And
that's awesome, bro.
Yeah, and I made a little bit of money from that, which was cool.
Yeah.
So shout out to Nick for helping me make some money. Appreciate you, bro. And but yeah, that was, I mean, it was short but sweet, and I definitely want to do more in the social media space, because I have seen just every business needs to have a brand. It needs to have a face of the brand. It needs to have somebody that somebody can look to and trust. And so I definitely want to do more with social media and be able to, you know, utilize all the platforms, monetize all the platforms, and you know, you can reach so much more people that way. Not only like money wise, but even like for the kingdom. You know, we have a friend who she blew up on TikTok, being like a Christian TikToker, and you know, she would go on these like lives and like, you know, be praying for people, and like she had somebody meet her at like a baptism, and the person got baptized just because they seen a TikTok live of hers. And so, you know, God has placed all these people in like social media in our lives for some reason. We know a lot of people who are, you know, have a following on social media. And so I know, you know, from that, God is, you know, using that space and wanting to do something in that space. And so I want to be a part of it. And so, that was my opening to getting into that space, was doing Snapchat. And not doing it no more, but another door will open, and I'll be able to, utilize, social media.
Definitely.
For sure.
I think there's a lot of there could be a lot of harm with social media, and there is.
For sure.
Kids are looking at bad stuff or whatever the case is. But I think there's a lot of good with social media too. You can reach millions and potentially even billions of people, right? Just off a platform.
No doubt, bro. Just one platform alone has, they all have billions of users on them. And so it's if you could even reach, a couple thousand or, a couple hundred, if you can reach one person and change one person's life,
that's all that matters.
That's all that matters, And so just gotta, I feel like with social media, it's just a consistency game.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm not good at with the social media. I'm not good with the consistency of posting and doing all that. But I mean, the time will come. I just got to put in the work, and then, you'll see the fruit of your labor. Yeah.
I know that we were talking about how important it is creating a social media brand for yourself.
Yeah.
And just how that could just open up the door to businesses you might already have, businesses that you might start in the future.
Yep.
What's your take on creating a good social media brand for yourself?
I think it's very important. Social media is the new, people are not spending money on commercials and advertising and stuff like that. They're spending money on social media. Mm-hmm. And so social media has everybody's eyes right now. And as a business, you want the attention. You want people's attention.
Yeah.
I think it's Alex Hormozi who says, attention is the new currency.
Mm-hmm.
And so the more attention you have, the more people you have looking at you,
mm-hmm.
The more you'll be able to add value to these people's lives with either your service, your product, whatever you offer. And if you have something that is valuable, people will buy it, people will see it.
Mm-hmm.
And not only do you want to monetize it, but you also want to add value for no cost too.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's one of my goals. I want to be able to add value to people, young entrepreneurs
mm-hmm.
who don't really know what they're doing. Yeah, God wanted to not only use me as an example, but to, actually help these young up and coming Christian entrepreneurs.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I really feel like He's called me to
mm-hmm.
do, is to be able to help just the younger generation who's coming up, because
mm-hmm.
there's a lot of people, younger guys, that don't have a father figure in their life. They don't have somebody to look up to.
Yeah.
Even older people. There's
mm-hmm.
There's a lot of older people who don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
And they don't have nobody to look up to, and they look at. I've had people come up to me that are way older than me and be like, "Wow, man, you're really inspiring me with what you're doing."
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, it's not me, all glory to God, but I'm glad He's using me in that way.
Mm-hmm.
And, I'll accept it. If somebody wants help, young, old, whatever, I want to be the person that's able to help them.
Yeah.
And I feel like social media, building your brand is what's going to attract those people to you.
Yeah.
And
for sure. I know that I had said this at Starbucks yesterday, and I want to get your take on it. Do you ever feel I know sometimes I'm 23,
mm-hmm.
you're about to be
22.
Right,
yeah,
you're about to be 23. Sometimes I feel dang, I'm already 23 and I'm not doing enough.
Right.
I should be doing way more at my age. I should have
mm-hmm.
so much more, obviously I shouldn't think of it this way, but I should have so much more money. I should be doing, do you ever feel maybe I'm failing a little bit?
Yeah, all the time.
Yeah.
All the time. This whole week I felt like I failed miserably with everything that's going on, with the business and everything.
Yeah.
But I mean, at the end of the day, I feel like for me, what that comes from is comparison. I compare myself to all these gurus and all these guys that are 19 years old, making millions of dollars, driving around in Ferraris, with Rolexes on their wrists. Yeah. And so with that, I tend to compare myself a lot. And comparison it can be used as fuel.
Could be.
To do good, but it can also really mess with your mental health and
mm-hmm.
Your self-image and everything
mm-hmm.
like that. And so I try not to compare myself,
mm-hmm.
but when I do, I find myself in those funks oh man, I'm not doing enough. I'm not making enough. I shouldn't
mm-hmm.
be doing more. I should provide for my family more.
Yeah.
And all this stuff. I should have my kids set up by now, 3 generations down.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's we're on our journey and our path. Both of us individually are on our journey and our path. It's ours. It's
mm-hmm.
not nobody else's. And we just got to go along with the process.
Yeah, God has us exactly where He wants us.
Yeah, exactly. And you just got to go along with it, follow, His lead at the end of the day. Don't try to stray off on your own tangents,
mm-hmm.
which is tough to do because there's so many things that, doors that open.
Mm-hmm.
And it's sometimes you don't have to walk through every door that's open.
Right.
And, you have to have that discernment to be able to say okay, this door is open, but it's not time for that yet.
Right.
And, So for me, I feel like I'm failing 90% of the time. And it is a ego booster when people are like, oh man, like it seems like you're doing so well. And I'm like, thank you. Like, I needed that because I feel like I'm failing.
No, I think, like sometimes I think like that and I'm like, I could be doing way more. But then I look at the bigger picture and I'm like, I think we're doing like, to be our age, I think we're doing a lot better than, like,
no,
like, I feel like,
yeah, for sure. And it's, like I said, I mean, we're all on our own journey, and even like guys that our age that are further than us or not even like where we are, everybody, you know, plays their part in their own life. And it's like, we can be looked at as an example to what you can do at such a young age. Because I feel like people tend to look down on younger entrepreneurs or younger people that are trying to go forward, trying to move forward in life. And a lot of times they, you know, tell people like us, like, oh, you're just, you know, stop dreaming. Like that goal is way too big. Like you can't achieve that. Like you're still so young. You have so much wisdom to obtain. And, you know, I think wisdom is just like learning from people who have made the mistakes so you don't have to make that same mistake. It's not going through life experiences. It's learning from other people's experiences because then from there, you don't have to go through that. And so that's why I try to surround myself with, you know, older people, not old people, but older people, just because I can learn from their experiences. I don't have to. Wisdom. Even in my faith, I try to surround myself with people who, I hate to put it this way, but like have been there longer than me. And because they have a lot of life experience, they have a lot of wisdom to share. And so I just feel like no matter what area you are in your life, you can learn from somebody who's been there, done that, and has the experience, and you can, you know, not have to make those same mistakes. Because I don't want to make the same mistakes that somebody else already made, especially in the same, you know, industry or in the same area of life.
Yeah,
you know,
especially if you can avoid it.
Exactly. Like, yeah. Why make life harder on yourself? Like, make it easier.
Yeah, definitely. You want to talk about buzz marketing a little bit?
Yeah, let's do it, bro.
New venture that we have.
Yeah. If you guys need advertising, content creation, marketing, whatever you need, let us know. Me and Alex have partnered on buzz marketing, which it's been fun, man. It's a learning journey for sure. Getting into a new industry and learning a new skill set. I mean, we both have our individual skill sets. Him with Free From Fear, you know, he does a lot of the product side. And me with Diamond Superior, I do a lot of the service side. And so we just brought that together, brought both of our brains together, both of our experiences together, and, you know, created buzz marketing to help, you know, businesses, clothing brands, whatever you have, whatever you need marketed, we'll help you advertise it, and we'll help you, you know, create a buzz around your company and get people shopping and buying and using your services.
Yeah, I think it's a blessing too that we both have like our own separate knowledge on it. Obviously, you do all of the marketing, advertising for Diamond Superior, and then I do the same thing with Free From Fear. So I think it definitely like helps us in this space, because it's not like we're just coming into the space and we know nothing about nothing. We already have our own, you know, our own skill set about it. So I think that definitely like helps us.
That plays a huge part for sure, because we can, you know, both sides of the spectrum. Like, you are doing such a great job with Free From Fear, and you've, you know, built it to this like massive, you know, clothing brand, which is awesome just because of, you know, what it stands for. Like, I'm wearing Free From Fear right now. I wear it all the time.
Me too.
Just because it, you know, it stands for something biblical. And, you know, I would much rather wear something that, you know, stands for, you know, building the kingdom of God, other than something that, you know, is just not. You know, even a plain shirt, like, I'd rather wear this than a plain shirt because it actually means something. And people ask me all the time, like, what is, like, oh, where'd you get that shirt? What is that? Like, what is that brand? And I tell them all the time, like, oh man, like, it's, you know, some of my best friends, like, it's their clothing brand. It's a Christian clothing company. You know, they want to bring streetwear into, you know, the youth for Christians, just so they can wear, you know, clothes that are not only cool, but they mean something. And so like with you guys, like building up Free From Fear, it just worked out perfectly that we were in two totally different industries, and we're able to come together and use both of our skill sets, both of our minds to create something else and create something that we can do together and, you know, build up the kingdom even more. I love that we, you know, work with a lot of Christian clothing companies. Because of what you guys have been able to build, that has opened the door to other people. And, you know, there's enough for everybody to go around. It's not like, you have built Free From Fear and you're like, no, nobody else can be in the Christian clothing space. It's like, no, we want everybody to win and we want everybody to build the kingdom. And so it's been an amazing journey. Definitely, I mean, it's not easy, but it's fun. And it's good that we're doing it together and we don't have to do it on our own. And so, it's a blessing to be able to be in business with you and to be able to, just start something new.
Yeah, likewise, bro, for sure. Yeah, definitely shout out to Angie. She's the mastermind behind Free From Fear. So
yeah, Angie is killing it.
It wouldn't be anything without her. And then Angie and your wife Emily actually just started their own clothing brand as well.
Started their own brand. Yep.
So the label.
For the girlies.
So the label for the girlies.
Check them out on Instagram.
Yeah, I think they got all their photo shoots.
Yep.
They're ready to launch the website and get stuff dropped. So I'm super excited. Be on the lookout
for that. Yeah, it's gonna be awesome. Just for them. Not only are we gonna be able to work together, but now our wives are working together, and so it just makes sense.
Yeah, and our business is gonna help their business.
Exactly.
And mutual, right? Yep. Yeah, exactly. So it's awesome. But yeah, bro, I'm excited for Buzz. I think that once we get rolling, and we already have been a little bit, I think we'll definitely be able to do some big things and help some good companies and
for sure,
and stuff like that. So what's next with Diamond Superior? Do you guys have any do you have any big dreams and aspirations for next year? Or
this next year, I really I'm still out there in the field. A lot of the times, I actually just recently have gone to 3 days a week of me actually being in the field, which is awesome. I got a couple of my days back. I'm still working, doing behind the scenes stuff, answering messages, calls, doing the advertising, marketing, social media, stuff like that. But I want to put people in place to be able to get my time back and invest more time into Buzz, invest more time into my family and stuff like that. We want to get a dog, so we'll see. We have to get a house first because we want a big dog, a Doberman. And so but yeah, man, it's awesome. I see in this next year or so, I want to get probably 2 more vans. I want to go get 1 van in Utah, probably either 1 van in California or Arizona. I got to see which one would make the most sense. But yeah, I want to expand, bro. I want to, not be a small business, but be a small business that's growing.
Yeah.
And I feel like this past, couple of years or so, we've been, doing well, going steady, not really expanding at all. But I don't know why I was living in fear for a little bit. I was like, oh no, I have to be the one that's doing the work because I know it's going to get done right. And then what actually changed my mind on that was we went to a trip to New York, and I realized that I didn't have to be the guy to do the job. Like, I can still make money being all the way across the country, and the job will still get done right. Obviously, I would get phone calls and stuff like that of stuff happening or situations, but I was able to handle it over the phone. There was people that were on the ground working, and I was like, oh wow, maybe I could just hire more people and not have to do it at all anymore, and I can focus on the back end, marketing, getting more customers, getting commercial clients, stuff like that. And so that's my goal for the end of this year and this upcoming next year. I want to really expand, put more people into management roles and stuff like that. Noah works with me, which is awesome. He's a big part in Diamond Superior as well. He was there before me, which is crazy to think. He was like 14 years old, and he's going strong, bro. He's one of the best guys that I've ever worked with, and it's cool that he's my brother too.
Yeah.
And so
he's a hard worker too.
Yeah, one of the hardest working people I've ever met, man. He never turns down work, for sure.
He's a grinder.
And so yeah, put him in a more management role, get him out of the field and stuff like that, have him oversee some stuff. And yeah, I just want to expand, bro. I want to be able to make it a business that is self-sufficient to where I don't have to be there all the time. And I can just oversee and make sure everything's running smooth and stuff like that. But that's the goal for Diamond Superior for sure, is just to expand, get more vans, get more people, get quality guys. I always found it that it's the best when you pay your guys really well, because then they want to come to work. They're excited. Obviously it's a job at the end of the day. I know not everybody loves working every day, but it's a little bit more fun when you're making a little bit more money. And so I want to really be able to create opportunities for other people to make money. I don't want to be the only person that's making money. I want my guys to feel like they're very well paid. And so that's my goal. I just want to be like a really solid, self-sustaining company that pays their people well, takes care of their employees and stuff like that. So that's my goal. I just want to expand it and make sure everything is running the way it should be.
Yeah, that's awesome, bro. You're blessed and highly favored.
Yes, I am.
I know. I see this guy on Instagram a lot. I forgot what his name is, but he builds businesses and stuff like that. And he's always talking about like, you know, some businesses you might build and then you'll get to this like plateau of like, okay, this is how much money I'm making every year. It's never going more than that. It's never going more than that. And then he starts talking about how you have to build people that build people, and then build a machine, which is like the company, right?
Yeah.
You got to have great workers. You got to pay them great, and they just have to be the machine, like within the company, and then eventually the company just runs itself. You don't have to be there every day. It's a machine that just keeps going and going and going, whether you're there or not.
Yeah. So the way when you were talking about that, the way I envisioned it was like a bunch of gears. So all the gears are like locked intact in, say, a car. Once you start the ignition, the gears start going. Once it's started, they're just going on their own. They're not like from the momentum that the engine starts creating. Like that's how a business is working. You have all these different pieces, all these different gears that come together, and you know, it's a machine that just starts working. And once you can get it to start and work on its own, you're set.
Yeah, you're set. The businesses just keep growing and keep growing and keep growing. Yeah, that's awesome, bro. Do you have any like personal goals in 2024 for you and Emily? And
yeah, bro. I mean, for me, a lot of my personal goals really, they rely with my faith. Like I really want to dig deeper into the Word, dig deeper into you know, understanding and getting, you know, fresh revelation from you know, God's Word, because it's a living Word and active in our lives like today. You know, even though it was written, you know, thousands of years ago, it's like it's active in our lives today. And so, you know, really chewing on it, getting to know His Word a little bit better. And obviously, like with my marriage, man, I just want to have the, you know, healthiest, best marriage that I can possibly have. And so I just want to be better, you know, grow. I don't want to stay stagnant, you know, with my personal development and growth and stuff like that. You know, not only for my sake, but for Emily. You know, she deserves to have a husband that is constantly growing, constantly evolving, constantly getting better, and treating her better. And especially when we have kids, I want to be able to them to look at me and say, oh wow, I want to be like my dad. You know, boy or girl, it doesn't matter. Like, I want them to be able to look at me and say, wow, like I want to be like my dad. I want to, you know, if it's a girl, I want to be a good example for what she should look for in a, you know, relationship and stuff like that. And so, yeah, my personal goals are just to always keep growing, not stay stagnant. There's been times where I feel like I've been stagnant a lot, but you know, you just got to pull yourself out of that funk. You can't, you know, and it's good having a support system around you, friends, you know, my wife is really good. She'll always pull me out of it and be like, come on, like, this is not you. Like, stop thinking like this and get out of this funk. Like, and so it's good to have that support system for sure.
For sure. Yeah. I don't think I've ever told you, but the way you and Nick are like deeply rooted in your faith, I look up to you guys. Like, I think it's awesome. It makes me want to be like you guys, right? Like seeing you guys continue to grow, and even Matt, seeing everybody continue to grow in their faith and just doing everything that they, like, other people see that when you're growing in your faith, like you just have this different walk, right? Like other people can tell, right? And I can tell, and just wanted to
appreciate that, bro.
Definitely look up to you guys. Shout out to Nick again.
Yeah, shout out to Nick. Man.
Nick's gonna be on the podcast soon.
Yeah, get him on here, bro.
We just gotta lock in a date.
That's gonna be a great conversation for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
If you guys are in the Vegas area, our church, me and Nick host a young adults group for men 18 to 28. So if you guys want to pop by a young adult men's group, Bible study type of thing, you know, just let us know. Hit up our Instagrams.
Always looking for new people.
Yeah, and so Alex has been there since day one, consistent. He's kind of my ride sometimes. I'm his ride sometimes. So
we drove here together tonight.
Yeah, and so
that's because we live awesome. Like 3 doors down from each other.
Yeah, we live in the same complex, and we could walk to each other's houses. It's pretty much our wives though. Our wives are the ones who were like, we got to live right next to each other, and we got to be able to walk to each other's house. And
it's crazy.
We were like, all right.
Yeah, so that's how it happened. Our leases end this upcoming year, so we'll see where we end up.
Got to get a house.
Yeah, I'm trying to get a house too. So sick, bro. Well, thank you for being on the podcast.
Of course, bro. Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, for sure, bro. I think this is great. I want to do another one too.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, we want to get another one too. But yeah, bro. Thank you so much.
Yeah, of course. Appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure. Guys, make sure you make sure you subscribe. Matt, can you drop Trevor's Instagram?
Drop it. Right there.
Right there. Buzz Marketing, Soul the Label, Free From Fear Clothing, Free From Fear Podcast, Diamond Superior, Nevada Auto Center.
Everything.
Matrix Media. Everything.
Follow them, subscribe, like. It's been a pleasure, you know, just having this conversation with you, bro. And I see what you guys are doing with Free From Fear, and I love to see the growth. I love to see everything that you guys are doing, bro.
Thanks, bro.
It's inspiring, you know, me watching you guys start from literally 0 followers, 0 anything, and just be able to build this brand to the point that it is now. And you guys are only growing. Like, it's not stopping.
Yeah.
And I know, you know, you guys have been rooted in your faith, you know, and you guys have gone through stuff yourself, and which you guys talked about a little bit on the last podcast. And you know, God has been there and provided for you guys this whole time, every single time. And it's good to see, you know, you guys are finally reaping the fruit of your labor. And so
thank you, bro.
It's inspiring, bro.
Thanks, man. Awesome. Thanks you guys for watching, and thanks again for being on the podcast, man.